What if ancient civilizations possessed electrical technology thousands of years before Edison? In the dimly lit basement of the Baghdad Museum, rows of unremarkable clay jars gather dust on metal shelves. To the casual observer, they appear to be simple pottery, the kind of everyday artifacts that fill archaeological storage rooms around the world. But hidden within these terracotta vessels lies evidence of a technology that shouldn't have existed for another 4,000 years. Functional electrical batteries that predate the birth of Christ by centuries. The discovery was made in 1936 by Wilhelm König, a German archaeologist working with the Iraqi State Museum. König was cataloging artifacts recovered from Parthian-era sites near Baghdad when he noticed something unusual about a collection of clay jars dating to approximately 250 BC. Each jar contained a copper cylinder, an iron rod, and traces of an acidic substance that had long since crystallized into white deposits around the metal components. But König wasn't the first to encounter these mysterious devices. Local workers had been discovering similar objects for decades during excavations throughout Mesopotamia, usually dismissing them as broken pottery or ceremonial vessels. It was only König's unique background as both an archaeologist and an electrical engineer that allowed him to recognize the true significance of these seemingly mundane artifacts. The German researcher's initial tests proved his suspicions correct. When he filled reconstructed versions of the ancient devices with common electrolytic solutions like vinegar or citric acid, they immediately began producing measurable electrical current. The voltage output was modest but consistent, approximately 1.5 volts per unit, roughly equivalent to a modern AA battery. More intriguingly, König discovered that multiple units could be connected in series to produce higher voltages, or in parallel to increase current capacity. The ancient designers had apparently understood the principles of electrical circuits well enough to create battery systems of varying power outputs depending on their intended applications. König's engineering background immediately recognized what he was looking at: the basic components of a galvanic cell, capable of generating electrical current through chemical reaction. The design was elegant in its simplicity. The iron rod served as a cathode, the copper cylinder as an anode, and the acidic solution as an electrolyte. When assembled and filled with an appropriate electrolytic solution, the devices could produce a steady electrical current of approximately 1.5 volts. What made König's discovery even more remarkable was the sophistication of the manufacturing techniques involved. Detailed examination revealed that the copper cylinders had been crafted using advanced metallurgical processes that produced remarkably pure metal with minimal impurities. The iron rods showed evidence of careful temperature control during forging, resulting in optimal grain structure for electrical conductivity. Even the clay vessels themselves demonstrated sophisticated ceramic technology. The pottery was fired at precise temperatures to achieve optimal porosity dense enough to contain liquid electrolytes without leakage, yet porous enough to allow controlled chemical reactions. Modern ceramic engineers have consistently struggled to reproduce the exact properties achieved by these ancient craftsmen using only primitive materials and techniques available 2,000 years ago. The implications were absolutely staggering. If König's analysis was correct, these humble clay jars represented evidence that ancient Mesopotamian civilizations had discovered and harnessed electricity over 2 millennia before Alessandro Volta's first battery in 1800. The technology that powers our modern world had apparently been mastered by craftsmen working in mud brick workshops along the Tigris River. But König's discovery raised deeply disturbing questions that the archaeological establishment seemed reluctant to address. How had ancient craftsmen developed such sophisticated understanding of electrochemistry without modern scientific method? What had they used this electrical technology to accomplish? And why had such a revolutionary innovation apparently disappeared from the historical record without leaving any trace in subsequent civilizations? The answers to these very questions became even more elusive when the Baghdad Batteries mysteriously vanished from the Iraqi National Museum during the chaos following the devastating 2003 invasion. along with thousands of other absolutely priceless artifacts. The batteries disappeared into the black market antiquities trade, their current whereabouts unknown to researchers who might have been able to conduct detailed analysis of their construction and capabilities. The timing of the disappearance was particularly suspicious. In the months leading up to the invasion, several Western archaeological teams had expressed intense interest in gaining access to the Baghdad batteries for comprehensive study. Advanced techniques like electron microscopy and spectrographic analysis could have revealed crucial details about the manufacturing methods used to create the devices, potentially providing insights into the level of technological sophistication achieved by their creators. Instead, the batteries vanished along with approximately 15,000 other artifacts in what UNESCO described as one of the most devastating cultural disasters of the modern era. But while most missing artifacts represented artistic or historical treasures, the loss of the Baghdad batteries eliminated physical evidence of ancient technological capabilities that challenged fundamental assumptions about the development of human civilization. The disappearance becomes even more disturbing when examined in the context of what researchers had already discovered about the battery's construction and potential applications. Modern reconstructions of the devices, built using materials and techniques available to ancient craftsmen, consistently produced electrical current sufficient to power small electronic devices or electroplate metals with gold and silver. Dr. Marjorie Senecal, a materials scientist at Smith College who studied replicas of the Baghdad batteries, found that the ancient designers had achieved remarkable efficiency in their electrochemical systems. The copper cylinders showed evidence of sophisticated metallurgy, she reported in a 2002 paper that was later withdrawn from publication. The purity levels and alloy compositions suggested knowledge of advanced smelting techniques that supposedly weren't developed until the Industrial Revolution. Even more intriguing, chemical analysis of residue found inside the original jars indicated the use of organic acids that would have maximized electrical output while minimizing corrosion of the metal components. The ancient battery makers had simply stumbled upon electrochemical principles through trial and error. They appeared to have possessed systematic understanding of the chemical processes involved in electrical generation. This level of scientific sophistication raised profound questions about the nature of ancient Mesopotamian civilization. The conventional historical narrative describes these cultures as primarily agricultural societies with limited technological capabilities beyond basic metallurgy and construction techniques. The existence of functional electrical devices suggests a far more advanced understanding of natural sciences than has been acknowledged by mainstream archaeology. But the Baghdad batteries weren't isolated anomalies. Similar electrochemical devices have been discovered at archaeological sites across the ancient world, from Egypt to Peru, each showing evidence of sophisticated electrical technology that predates conventional timelines for such innovations by thousands of years. In 1898, British archaeologist Flinders Petrie discovered what he described as galvanic apparatus in tombs near Saqqara, Egypt. The devices consisted of copper and iron components arranged in configurations that modern electrical engineers immediately recognized as battery systems. Petrie's findings were dismissed by his contemporaries as ritual objects with no technological function, and the artifacts were relegated to museum storage where they remained largely unstudied for decades. Similar discoveries in South America have yielded even more sophisticated electrical devices. The so-called Nazca batteries discovered in Peru consist of elaborate systems of interconnected metal chambers that appear designed to generate significant electrical current through chemical processes. Carbon dating of organic materials associated with these devices indicates construction approximately 2,000 years ago, placing them contemporary with the Baghdad batteries. The global distribution of ancient electrical technology suggests that multiple civilizations developed electrochemical capabilities independently, or that knowledge of such technology was transmitted between distant cultures through mechanisms that are unreflected in conventional historical records. Either interpretation challenges fundamental assumptions about ancient technological capabilities and the isolated development of human societies. Modern attempts to reverse engineer ancient electrical devices have yielded surprising insights into the sophistication of their design. Teams at MIT and Stanford have constructed functional replicas of various ancient battery systems, finding that the devices incorporate engineering principles that weren't formally understood until the 19th century. Dr. Robert Corner, an electrical engineer who has studied ancient battery technology for over 2 decades, describes the devices as remarkably efficient given their construction materials and techniques. The ancient designers clearly understood concepts like electrode potential, ionic conductivity, and electrochemical equilibrium that were uncodified in scientific literature until the work of Faraday and others in the 1800s. The practical applications of ancient electrical technology remain a subject of intense speculation and limited investigation. The most commonly proposed use is electroplating, the process of depositing thin layers of precious metals onto base metal objects through electrical current. Several ancient artifacts show evidence of electroplated gold and silver, coatings that would have required electrical technology to produce. But electroplating represents only the most basic application of electrical current. More sophisticated uses could have included electric lighting, electrochemical processing of materials, and even basic electronics for measurement and calculation. The technological infrastructure necessary to support such applications would have required far more advanced industrial capabilities than are typically attributed to ancient civilizations. The possibility that ancient cultures possessed electrical technology raises disturbing questions about what other innovations might have been lost to history. If sophisticated electrochemical systems were developed and then forgotten, what other technological achievements might have disappeared along with the civilizations that created them? The systematic removal of evidence makes these questions impossible to answer with certainty. The theft of the Baghdad Batteries eliminated the most important physical evidence of ancient electrical technology, while the classification of related research has prevented comprehensive study of similar artifacts discovered at other sites. Government restrictions on access to certain archaeological materials have become increasingly common in recent years, often justified by concerns about artifact preservation or national security. But the pattern of restrictions consistently targets discoveries that challenge conventional understanding of ancient technological capabilities, suggesting coordinated efforts to suppress evidence of advanced prehistoric technologies. Private collectors and technology companies have shown particular interest in acquiring ancient artifacts that demonstrate sophisticated engineering principles. Several major tech corporations employ teams of archaeologists and materials scientists specifically tasked with studying ancient manufacturing techniques and design principles that might inform modern innovations. The reverse engineering of ancient technologies has apparently yielded significant advances in several fields. Patent applications filed by major technology companies show clear influences from ancient design principles, particularly in areas like materials science, energy storage, and electrochemical processing. Some of the most significant advances in modern battery technology can be traced directly to insights gained from studying ancient electrical devices. But this research is conducted under strict confidentiality agreements that prevent publication of findings or public discussion of ancient technological capabilities. The knowledge gained from studying artifacts like the Baghdad Batteries remains locked away in corporate research facilities, contributing to modern technological development while being concealed from broader scientific investigation. The implications extend far beyond academic archaeology. If ancient civilizations possessed electrical technology, they likely also developed other innovations that could revolutionize modern understanding of energy generation, materials processing, and electronic design. The suppression of research into ancient technologies may be preventing discoveries that could address current technological challenges and environmental problems. The ancient electrical devices represent more than just archaeological curiosities. They re-evidence of human technological capabilities that existed thousands of years ago and were then mysteriously lost. The disappearance of the Baghdad Batteries eliminates crucial evidence of these capabilities, while ongoing suppression of related research prevents recovery of ancient knowledge that could benefit modern society. What other technologies did ancient civilizations develop? How advanced were their understanding of natural sciences and engineering principles? What caused the loss of such sophisticated knowledge? And why are modern authorities so determined to prevent investigation into ancient technological achievements? The answers to these questions may lie buried in archaeological sites around the world, waiting to be discovered by researchers willing to challenge conventional assumptions about human development. But accessing this knowledge requires overcoming systematic efforts to suppress evidence and redirect investigation away from discoveries that contradict established narratives about ancient capabilities. The clay jars that once sat in the Baghdad Museum represented just a small fraction of the ancient electrical devices that have been discovered and then hidden from public knowledge. Similar artifacts exist in private collections, classified government facilities, and corporate research laboratories around the world, each containing evidence of technological sophistication that officially didn't exist until modern times. The Baghdad Batteries weren't just ancient curiosities, they were proof that human technological development follows patterns far more complex than conventional history describes. They demonstrated that advanced knowledge can be achieved, lost, and rediscovered across vast time spans, and if that current technological capability may not represent the first time human civilizations have achieved such sophistication. But perhaps most importantly, they showed that powerful interests in the modern world are determined to control access to evidence of ancient technological achievements. The systematic removal and suppression of such evidence suggests that recovering ancient knowledge poses threats to established interests, whether economic, political, or ideological. What if our ancestors possessed technologies we're only rediscovering? What if innovations we consider cutting edge are actually ancient knowledge being slowly recovered and commercialized by those with access to suppressed archaeological evidence? What if the real history of human technological development has been hidden to maintain control over modern innovation? The missing Baghdad Batteries can't answer these questions directly, but their disappearance ensures we can't answer them at all. Somewhere in a private collection or corporate laboratory, these ancient electrical devices continue to yield secrets about human technological capabilities that existed thousands of years ago. But for the rest of us, they remain forever out of reach, their knowledge locked away behind walls of secrecy that have hidden so many other inconvenient truths about our past. What if we're just rediscovering what was lost? Are you prepared to uncover the forbidden knowledge they've hidden from us for centuries? Want to shatter the illusions we've been fed about human origins? Then join this underground movement. Smash that subscribe button, document what you discover, and let's hunt down these buried truths together. The proof remains concealed behind walls of deception and academic gatekeeping. But united as truth seekers, we have the power to drag their darkest secrets into the light.